I was the eldest son and the next heir of the Perdium, and uncontrollable by nature, pushed away those dear to me. I was a man driven by pleasure and desires of my heart with no understanding of its consequences it brought. But even so, even the softest clay as life has a way to harden it as tough as steel, producing the absolute opposite, leaving no trace of the past. As now before me was the renowned #1 strongest knight of the North, Jurgen, on his knees, blood oozing down as life seemed to slip away by every passing second. "Do you like it?" I taunted. "But how can a man who hoarded his skills and power accept to be taken down by someone like me, who was known as the useless eldest son of the county Perdium, and had added that I knew all of his plans before they manifested? Not only that, I also knew how many they were, who the spies were, and who the reinforcement were. I knew everything from the beginning. Jurgen didn't understand how I knew, as he had hidden his ace card well. Like a wild beast, he cried out my name, unable to accept the situation before him. I never knew my feet size, so I imprinted my foot on his face. "Just die, I'll take the measurement later. Try invading as much as you can, it won't matter, 'cause all your plans are known to me."
Many hours later.
But my reign didn't last much longer, as theirs. Always a bigger creature, as my blade was knocked away from my hands, my body aching all over in pain. But it seemed I had reached my limit as my wounds reopened, the pain piercing through like a bolt of lightning. "So this, how it ends for you? Gilsan Perdium, the might mercenary king, and one among the 7 strongest men in the continent. But this will finally come to an end. This is Man Eden, one among the 7 top strongest noble knights in the continent. Any last words, mercenary king?" First of all, I replied bigger, "You look like a femboy shit. I thought they made boys to men. Guess you had Big J Epstein as your captain and Diddy as your trainer. Even so, you disgusting people stopped from my revenge. How insulting, despite dying on my feet, didn't expect the useless eldest son of the fallen county Pedrium household to be a menace so much this level you left home after your sister died." This caught me by surprise. I asked how he knew while he was from a different kingdom. "Of course I know, 'cause I have worked my ass off long to track you down. Because we are the ones who worked with the Delphine household to take you down to bring your Pedrium family down." This caught me by shock, as I didn't expect to be other people working Agnes, my family, despite the Delphine household. "There's no need explaining it further, as you already a dead man. Just accept your fate, Pedrium." My body was shaking violently with rage and hatred. "I will never forgive you. I'll let the world bear witness to my hate." This scene didn't seem to even please Eden, as he was disgusted looking at me. And with a precise slash, beheaded red juice splattered everywhere. A year ago at Lithuania Kingdom, I woke up surprised what had just happened. I was still alive, touching my neck. This didn't make no sense, as a while ago I was decapitated by Iden, yet I am alive with my head attached to my shoulders. Gilsan Peridum wondered he was in a hallucination, 'cause he seemed quite younger. Looking around, he wondered if he was taken captives and be used as a lab rat. "Young master," a voice called out from the tent, which alerted Gilsan as a young man walked, saying, "Please, young master, I know you are awake. He is Perdium's soldier, Ricardo." Ricardo was terrified and shaken as a sword was onto his throat. "I'll let you leave if you answer my question," Gilsan said, oozing with immense bloodlust. "You may get out alive or maybe not." Young master, don't you think this is crossing the line? A no is a no. What's this guy's reaction? I'm threatening right now. Am a fucking mercenary king. The fuck you mean? Nah. Gilsan puzzled by the situation. Ricardo took the chance and free him Slef, informing Gilsan if he was tired, after throwing a tantrum later fell asleep. "What?" "I did." Gilsan was surprised by Ricardo's words. "Did you forget everything just after having a nap? You were throwing a tantrum about how you gonna command the group of orcs." The nothing made sense to Gilsan, as he wondered when he threw a tantrum what kind of nonsense Ricardo was spouting. Ricardo didn't mind Gilsen, as he told him the soldiers are waiting, so he needed to pack his things. But still not aware of the situation, trying to understand what was happening. Ricardo not pleased by Gilsen. Assuming his faking, he told him they were heading to the Pedrium estate. He had long forgotten its name, was shocked, not believing what he just heard. He told Ricardo to repeat his words, 'cause it all felt like a dream. Perdium, he uttered in weak and but surprised tone. Do you mean the fallen Pedrium estate? As Gilsan walked out to the tenant looking towards the Gilsan estate, he couldn't believe his eyes, as it was really the Perdium estate. He didn't understand how it was still there. As he recalled, it had become ashes back then. Did you have a terrible nightmare, or something? Calling your household a fallen one could make you be kicked out if the Count hears that. This has to be the last moments where your life flashes through your eyes before you die. I need to wake my stupid ass up. But with a sharp pinch, he felt pain, and now understood he may not be visiting his ancestors, 'cause everything felt so real. Gilsan began to piece everything together from his young face. The Perdium estate on its original state, that concluded that he may had actually travel back in time to the past. Recalling how my younger self hated this, the household, the immaturity that I had developed due to feeling inferior to others, made me cause much trouble as time passed. Most people in the household avoided me. Unable to face the criticism agonist me, led me to ran away from home several years later. That annoying brat that left home became a mercenary. Not any kind, but a mercenary king. I had survived countless battles, built up my skills, and made a name for myself. I returned to Pedrium County in order to make up for my mistakes, but the place I once called home, my esteemed household, had been crushed to dust when I arrived. And I had lost everything, but fate gave me another chance, and it was still here. Everything I had lost was still here. The joy and excitement was so much that I could drop an album right now. Shit, I may even be Michael Jackson at this point. But I need to tickle down my balls and calm down, as it's too early to rejoice. Yes, this esteemed gentleman said we are here to raid orcs. This was the day most people in the raid squad die in my past life. I had followed through with the orc raid just to make a name of myself at that time. The report stated there's only 3 orcs, and my ignorance for fame made me assume it would be easy enough for someone like me with 0 experiences as a commander of a squad. But when we arrived, there was more than 20 orcs. Almost all of us ended up dying because I had been stubborn and wanted to command a squad. But this time should be doable, as those Orsa didn't seem to have strategy. The problem is, if this guys can trust me, they all think I'm useless bastard. But even if you know everything gonna happen, bot, everything goes as how you want it, as destruction and chaos was heard, and a watchtower was thrown in the camp with great force. It's the orcs are here. The Orca were charging like raging bulls, no signs of stopping, just using brute strength to get through the defenses. I was surprised by their sudden arrival, as I wondered if this also had happened in my past life. The orcs had broken through the defenses, causes so much chaos with no signs of stopping. Get into formation, don't panic, and get into the defense formation. It was Scoven, the raid squad commander. The soldiers were swatted of like flies before they were in position. Damn it, we let our guard down, getting ambushed whenever we weren't prepared at all. And Scovan had realized that there was more than reported he knew. At this rate, they all gonna die. Commander! A piercing voice called to Scovan, getting his attention. When the voice alerted him to look behind him, he knew he had a chance of surviving, as his reaction would be late to avoid or block the attack. A hand came in, catching Scoven by surprise, as I pushed him out of harm's way, which surprised the raid. Commander inwardly worried about me as he saw me heading towards the orc's attack. I had swiftly plunged my sword onto the orc's hand, slicing of its hand with a precise cut, which shocked Scoven and the soldiers, not believing what they had just witnessed. The orc could understand what had just happened, as everything happened so fast for it to understand. Looking at my weak arm, I realized I couldn't use mana, as I wished I had returned much further to the past earlier. Walking towards Scoven, I asked if he was the commander as I asked him to give it to me. Scoven didn't understand what I meant as I asked him to give me the commander's rights.